Hello and welcome back after a brief little. Hello and welcome back after a brief little. Hello and welcome. Oh my god, it fucking unmuted itself. Okay, now we'll reset. Redo. Welcome back.
Oh, God.
Thanks to my own technical ineptitude, I've got to hear my voice 7 times echoed through my ears.
Fun. Love it when that happens.
I'm not
Oh,
editing
that's
this out.
totally
That's my own
fun.
fault. However, we are going to be down 1 or maybe 2 players tonight just because of life things, and that's how things work. And
How dare they have lives?
yeah. Anyways, um,
Many hugs for Lucas later.
Cool.
yes. Lucas has other obligations that have to be attended to, so he will not be present. Zaz may join, depending on whether or not they are feeling awake and motivated enough to do so. Either way, as per tradition here, for the people who are not here, i.e., generally people who are in a public space and have promotions to delve out, that being Lucas, I did it for Lisa the other week when they were showing up a little bit late. I will do it for Lucas
Thank
as well.
you.
Lucas can be found on, generally, he can be found on a particular site that's probably not visited very often, which is Twitter. I won't call it X, it's fucking stupid. That's just Twitter. But more importantly, he can be found on their YouTube and their Twitch channel, Rule of Lore, where they are generally talking about, on Stuff Fridays, they do Ramblemancy, where they talk about really just about anything and everything and get nothing done at all. Like ever.
Nice.
Tangents, non-stop, always. But, with that in mind, also, they might still have their stuff up for their coffee as well, and they would appreciate any donations you can send their way because they are getting ready to do the actual play. Tomorrow is Dead Season 2, which will be using the Free League Walking Dead system, which I believe finished up its Kickstarter not that long ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. But either way, I would anticipate a tonal shift in narration, and the people who are part of that are fantastic people. They do great shit, and you should definitely give them all your love and attention because they deserve it. Aside from that, I will save my own personal announcements till the very end, but other people who wish to promote and plug, please do so now.
Hi, I'm Slay. I'm a TTRPG performer. My Twitter is at Sons of Warband, Sons_of_Warband. You can find me there. My email's on my Twitter. That's pretty much it.
Hiya! Is your favorite gal Little Legend? Or, just Little. Anyway, Twitter is fucking dying, so fuck that shit, but also it's Little Zero Legend out there, and my Tumblr is Little Legend Art. I do art, I do commissions. I got into Salmon Max recently, so I'm trying to draw that recent obsession. I also have Boosty. Probably nobody knows about it, but I do have it. So if you want to commission me, please, you're really welcomed. I really want someone to commission me. Yeah, that's it.
I am Silver Sugar, aka Risa. You can find me most places on the internet as X Silver Sugar because my name keeps getting taken, like on Blue Skies, which is my newest platform. I'm also on Tumblr as X Silver Sugar. I'm also open for commissions and art. And right now on my YouTube, I just finished up my Pokemon Nuzlocke run. So the final episode will be going up on my YouTube later tonight, I believe. And that's all I've got for now. Thank you.
Okay, so, we have another GM in the chat. Anyways, welcome. But to continue on with our announcements, personally mine, as stated before, the Dark Saviors campaign just doesn't really go with what I want to move forward with. So we're abandoning that prospect, but we are keeping the monthly game, the To Boldly Go Gamma Quadrant Exploration Episodic Game. Wow, that's a mouthful. If that is something that you or someone that you think might be interested in it, please do have them join our Discord link under the Twitch banner shit underneath. The links can't really be put in the chat because Twitch hates me. But there is a connection that you can use down below. If you're interested in that, please join and send me an @ or a direct message and we can talk about that. Or if you have someone who might be interested, send them this way. We would be very delighted to have them. Small community, but we do hope to grow. And storytellers and like-minded people are always welcome because the power of storytelling is much more interesting than most current media going around. Because it's organic, it's not AI. Anyways, additionally, following that, I do have another thing in the works that I can't announce yet. I hope I can announce it next week. I truly, truly do. I am working very hard on getting it to work, but we shall see. Finally, I've mentioned this before, and it's such a great, terrible, bad fucking idea that I decided that I'm going to do it. Which is, sometime in January, I will be running a community game via Twitch, a D&D 5e game, probably low level, for about 4 to 6 sessions. It will be a Twitch Plays D&D, in which we'll all have a session 0, you as the chat, will have a session 0 with me, we'll figure out how to build the character, what limitations to set, slight bits of theme and such like that, and then we'll run through a game of chaotic, stupid mess that I will be the only one suffering through it because y'all are terrifying.
I'm so excited for this. It's not even funny. Like, so excited.
It's such a bad idea. But
I love it.
But I will be running through
much like Twitch plays Pokemon.
I don't need your logic here.
Mm.
But yes, and hopefully, I will have the Runen Relic, other thing announced next week, or at the very latest, hopefully the week after. Crossing fingers for that. I just have to talk to certain people. But once I get that all situated, hopefully you'll get that announcement. But the announcements aside, it's not really what all you popped in here to do tonight, is it? So, I think as long as there's nothing else to go, I think we should switch over into the game. And those who want to pay attention to the opening credits, something did change. But we will see you in just a minute.
just Commander.
Alright, welcome back as we jump into this game. I'm not gonna list the start date because my brain doesn't do that quick enough, but the in-game date at this point is April 13th, 2385. Roughly, just slightly over a week has gone since the Utopia Planitia attack. The Sol Madrid field office has returned after its hunt for the Ross and its conclusion. Long meetings, long, lengthy meetings were done in private with Commander Jaloryn and the board of Starfleet Command, which exhaustive, very sleepless, about what to do about certain sentient life that is of artificial nature. An agreement was come to that it will be preserved so long as it is not activated. With that being the case, it's definitely not the outcome that one would want. It is the most ideal outcome that I think Commander Jaloryn was going to get in this present time. There's always an inkling that eats at all of you that something is off. But for the most part, things are trying to return to normal. So with that being said, after, I would say, Commander Jaloryn, you've spent the past, I would say, 72 to 85 hours in these type of talks. Like, on and off. Non-stop. But it's finally concluded, and you are all kind of left to your own devices. So what are you doing at this, point in time?
Jaloryn is currently in her office, like doing the best she can to like organize a few things.
Okay. There is a chime at the door, indicating that someone is there, and it is indicated that it is not someone from the, not someone you know from the Madrid, like, field office at all. That is exterior to your office as you're cleaning up or doing whatever.
She's exhausted. She's a little distracted, but she's gonna bid them to enter.
Okay. Entering through is a woman of definitely Spanish descent. Probably, if you had to guess, she couldn't be any older than maybe 23 or 24. She is wearing a Starfleet uniform, but it is different than the standard, like, uniforms that you all wear. Instead of, like, the typical division colors, it has a, the division colors are like a dark sea blue, as opposed to, like, the light science or the, like, greenish, medical. As she kind of looks around, she is human, for sure, and looks incredibly nervous, denoting you don't see any ranking pips of any kind. Instead, you see, an old practice that isn't super common anymore is a singular band around the sleeves, denoting her to be a single, like, band which signifies a lieutenant of junior grade status, which is a practice that hasn't existed since the 22
something.
2270s? No, 2260s, I think. Hi, Commander. Okay, maybe this was a bad idea.
Jaloryn just waves her over to one of the couches that she has off to one side. What can I do for you, Lieutenant?
It's more what I can do for the Madrid field office. I know this is gonna cause so much tension in the office because, I don't want to sound. I'm the one that's supposed to. I'm the upkeep officer for the Solar Atlantic Field office starting tomorrow. Tomorrow. Not today. I just came today as a courtesy, so you wouldn't. Uh,
Jaloryn just kind of leans on her desk and studies the lieutenant up and down. What exactly does upkeep officer entail?
you know, I'm not gonna lie, uh, Commander. I was told that's something that I. I was sent by Starfleet Command. I'm not really sure.
They didn't give you any sort of briefing?
I think they assumed that any briefing that they were gonna do and tell me what I was supposed to do was gonna immediately be usurped, and uh, rules were gonna change the moment I entered the doors. They just figured not. I'm not really sure. I was actually supposed to be on assignment on a Reliant class vessel, and then I got pulled here for this assignment. I'm not really a planet side person.
At this point, Jaloryn is looking very, very amused. um, well, you did get part of that right.
Which part? I talk really fast when I'm nervous. I don't remember what I said.
Oh no, I love them.
Things do change once you enter this office.
Oh, okay.
How they change is up to each person. But I'm sure we can figure out what exactly your role means fairly soon.
Sure. Uh, right.
What's your name, Lieutenant?
Samantha Anders? Or everyone just calls me Anders most of the time. Or they did on station side and ship side.
Easy enough to adopt here.
Oh, okay.
Pleasure to meet you, Anders.
Pleasure is to meet you as well.
What's your specialty?
I specialize in. Well, I'm more of a. I specialize in a social group type of studies, psychology, and microexpressions. And I have a little bit of science and engineering proficiency to some degree. Not anything particularly like significant. Just I could hold my own in a station if it needs to happen, but I'm not a specialist in those stations.
Leaning a little bit more towards medical?
Uh, it, yeah, Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
So I guess we're gonna have to get to know each other a little bit closer. Hi.
Uh,
Oops, fuck. I'm sorry, I didn't see the last message that came into the chat.
actually, you would actually be here at the lowest because Commander Jaloryn
Oh,
does
damn.
have something for you. Because as you are now the Chief Medical Officer of the Seoul Atlantic Field Office, there is a particular set of pads that Jaloryn needs to hand off to you because you are going to need to figure out who you are going to take up as your medical aid.
Oh, grand. Yes, I'm there. I just intervened into a very personal conversation by accident. Oops.
Oh, okay. I think I should dismiss myself and I'll come back sort of ready tomorrow, maybe?
So, real quick, Anders. This is our new Chief Medical Officer, Lieutenant Junior Grade Mira Loris. Mira, this is Lieutenant Anderson, also known as Anders.
Hi, sorry I scared you. I
That's
swear I'm not, one of those hard people when it comes to, newbies, so just, you can relax around me.
okay. That's okay. I feel really small next to you. Um,
Yeah, I get it a lot.
I'll
See you in the first thing in the morning, Anders.
yeah, and she'll like speed walk out.
That went well.
I think she was going to do that whether you showed up or not.
Still, I mean, I guess it's better to, keep them prepared. Because a lot of people kind of nearly fainted when I walked into the med bay lately. Anyway, the pads and such.
Yes.
Just
She's
for reference, there a little. Lieutenant Junior Grade Loris has about 50 to sift through. There's about 50 of them.
You can hear like this sort of sound, which is like.
yeah, it's like
Mhm.
Jalora turns around and like she shuffles a minute on the desk, and then like when she turns back to face Mira, she's like holding this box and is just like, "Here you go."
One section of the box is for personal recommendations of medical aids. The other one is for any incomplete medical reports that still need filling out. Another section is delved out to medical equipment, acquisition of equipment, or fixing of said equipment. Finally, there is any additional aptitude tests that you will have to be taking. As an ensign, you didn't have this. Your workload has effectively quadrupled at this point.
Yeah, grand. I mean, just the time for me to learn how this paper language works. Maybe, I don't know. She kind of sulks a little bit because she wanted to be active, save lives, jump around, and now she gotta sit down and do fucking paperwork. She's not very happy about it.
Jalora nods sympathetically, and it's like, well, a lot of this job comes in two parts.
Yeah,
There's the fun part and the not so fun part.
Yeah, you can look past Commander Jaloryn, like looking over her shoulder. You can see you do not need to be envious of Commander Jaloryn because her workload is about triple yours.
So, theoretically, when I choose an assistant, is that possible to kind of, split this thing in half between us? No?
Theoretically.
Ooh.
But you still need to be in charge of the bulk of it. It all needs to
Fair
go
enough.
past your eyes first.
As
First and
long as
last.
I don't have. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
You can't just pass off everything to everybody.
Nah,
It's gotta have your final stamp of approval on it.
Yeah, I'm responsible. I can't do this. As long as I don't have to type out every single little detail by myself, I'm cool. Yeah, we can do this. We can get this in check. Anyway, thank you so much for everything. Um, I'm sorry. I know it's like a lot to ask because you got a lot going on. I can I come for you? You know, ask questions or something, or could you recommend someone I can ask questions to? Because I don't have many people to learn this whole new rank situation from.
Certainly. And then I can, like, whatever I can't help you answer, then I believe there are a few people that I can tap to get in touch with you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's a big relief. Anyway, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
She gestures at the stack that contains the aptitude stuff. Um,
Mm.
don't overstress on the tests, you know? We'll take those at your own pace and we'll get through them. Okay?
Eh, I can blast through them. It's not a problem. I mean, not like fast, but just you gotta know stuff to heal people. Yeah. But thank you for your very sound advice, really.
I like how we're hearing acceptance and the stages of grief, like, just play out in various steps in real time. It's just great. But,
She is not having.
yeah. Yeah, you will go and head off to do that. As, Lieutenant Commander Hone, what are you up to in this, upon this post-mission, like, return and stuff like that, now that a few days have passed since the Utopia Planitia attack?
Well, Tate's doing a couple things. Tate is one, spending some time practicing meditation so they don't have another freak out with all their memories,
Mm-hmm.
because this is not the opportune time for that. And they also, I imagine, they also have paperwork they're getting too, because they're lieutenant commander.
Oh yeah, it's a lot because you did effectively an unsanctioned like rescue op, which creates about double what you usually would have been doing, and it's not like it's not necessarily a reprimand per se. It's kind of like Starfleet Command going like, listen, we understood why you did this and why you circumnavigated like command, but like we kind of have to send you this anyways because you circumnavigated command. Um, And so it's just kind of more of like, okay, here's my reports, here's my reasonings, here's why I did the things that I did. No, I'm not going to apologize for doing this. Okay, I might apologize for this. And just little things that just, they're tiny things that begin stacking up just to a slightly absurd degree.
I do want to make sure that that the part with the Orion and and sorry, Vulcan ships that Kavai got, it doesn't come back to Kavai.
Okay.
Like, as far as people know, that was my thing.
Okay. Um, you're going through your meditations when you get a door chime at your apartment, actually.
I get up and I go and answer the door.
Okay. The person that you are interacting with is a little surprising. She's probably about ever so slightly shorter than you. Wears a different style of uniform, much more like lower deck style, but definitely wears like a medical blue and white type of look to it. And if I were, let's see, yes, kind of slightly darker hair. She honestly looks like she might just fresh be out of like Starfleet Academy, given her youthful appearance and age. Hi, I hope this isn't that unprofessional. And casting-wise, you'd probably see someone who looks a lot like Olivia Holt.
What rank is she?
She has the singular pip actually on the left side of the right side of the chest, denoting a ensign.
How can I help you, Ensign?
I was going around, because I had a sort of interview-esque type of thing. Well, not really. It's just I happened to be in the area, so I figured I'd stop. And I know I'm not technically supposed. Can you point me to the public lobby area of the Soul Field office? I've heard a little bit that someone around here might know, and you seem like you're Starfleet, so.
I look around. I say, "Yeah, I can take you there." What's your name?
Vivian.
Vivian.
Can I just tell you when we start walking? That might. If you
Tell me
move
now, Ensign.
Okay. Don't let this change your opinion of me, please.
I don't have much of an opinion right now, so just keep going.
Vivian McCoy.
Okay. Thank you for telling me your name. We will get you to the. We will get you to the office now.
Yeah.
And Tate will clean up will put their stuff away real quick, and go and take Vivian to the office.
Okay.
And
Yep.
like it's clear that Tate knows, like McCoy knows, like yeah, there's only one McCoy I can think of that would make you this nervous. But Tate's also someone who has a mother in the Admiralty, so knows how this feels. So they're not making any sort of big deal about McCoy. They're pointedly not making a big deal about it, like sort of being like, yeah, I get it.
Yep, same situation. Mine, unfortunately, is just less discreet.
Yep.
But yeah, as you head off, now I'm very curious, given everything that's happened in these past few days. What is Kavai up to?
Actually, this is good timing. I would like to meet them along their way.
Yeah.
Heading back to the office.
You and Tate don't
Kavai
live that far away, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Kavai just finished up a therapy session. They have been seeing I don't know if I'm pronouncing this word, cetacean officer? Off-site.
Okay.
Kind of combining her love of swimming with therapy, which is something she's avoided her entire life. So currently she's back in uniform, but still has a towel wrapped around her hair and is desperately trying to squeegee this thing dry. She has a
One of those
massive
people
amount.
where it's just like hair is sponge and there's
Yeah, it's gonna take hours. It's fine.
Okay.
But I think they see their coworker walking along and will wave from across the street, kind of like that. Hey, we're going the same way. Mind if I join you?
Yeah, I'm
But
sure it's
doesn't want to
happened a couple of
necessarily.
times too, so
Yeah, but also doesn't necessarily want to interrupt a conversation if it's not okay.
Tate just this waves to you, and it's like, and they're walking in the same direction, so they'll be like, yeah, sure.
She'll definitely jog over and introduce herself to the newbie. Hi there, I'm Kavai,
I'm
Tate's
Vivian.
coworker.
And I'm just in the neighborhood, I guess, and I figured I'd try and make a impression with in person than on pad.
Fair. Well, what have I missed? She'll give a polite smile.
Not much. She just needs help to find the office, so we're going there.
Well, fortunately the walk's not too bad, especially with this weather. It's nice out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like a moment where it's like that sort of like awkward
Yeah,
silence.
there's 100% like this awkward like dead air.
I am going
just
to.
like,
I am going to add. Wait. So what's Kavai wearing right now? Are they in their swim gear?
she is back in uniform, but she is very clearly like still damp. Like it's like sticking at awkward like angles. And of course she's got the towel around her hair still.
Not enough time in the sonic blow dry.
No. She actually probably wouldn't use one of those. She prefers air drying.
Taylor just like sort of look at a towel and then think I ask a question, then decide not to.
I think seeing the look, Kavai kind of like blushes a little bit. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing a new therapist. Oh God, this word's gonna trip me up every time. Their citation.
You got it right the first time.
Yay! Okay, just having someone else like confirm that makes me feel a lot better. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Their citation.
Oh, well, I hope your sessions are going well.
Yeah, I actually really like them. I was surprised. I've never gone in for that sort of thing before, but you know, mandates.
Yeah. I actually want to talk. I actually wanted to talk to you after we get Vivian to the office. I want to talk to you in my office, whenever you're ready, whenever you have a chance.
Yeah, of course. Am I in trouble?
No. I just have some questions.
Okay, of course. Anything I can help with, always.
I think there's more just that dead air before getting like that last 5 minutes stretch.
110%.
Yeah, it's very awkward. Tate does not know how to do small talk.
As Vivian kind of looks in and looks at the very unassuming like Madrid field office, because like the first 2 floors are pretty normal.
Yeah, people walk by this building every day and don't notice what's going on.
Okay, so, I mentioned first impressions, and I did send in an application since I can say that, right? Intelligence, right?
You can say that when we get into building.
Oh, okay.
I think Kavai like definitely like laughs at that, and we'll probably break apart for a second to go to the nearest replicator, toss their towel in, and then like kind of loiter.
Once in the building, Vivian will finally like Spill. Okay, so I sent in a application for the new chief medical officer that I heard that you have now. Um, and I heard that they were looking, or rather Starfleet, and they were requesting a medical aid. Now I don't know if that's going to uh, translate if I show up versus reading reports and records, but I mean I am just an ensign, so I
Oh,
figured.
regardless, like
I
hearing
figure.
that they're medical.
I figured showing up face to face versus like video call is more respectable.
We'll see if she thinks that. I can bring you to her.
Uh, okay.
If you want. If you're not ready, that's fine.
I'm going to be perfectly honest, Commander. If you don't push me through the threshold of the door, I might run away. So you might just have to do that anyways.
I push her through.
Okay, we're going.
Yeah, Jaloryn's just kind of waiting down in the lobby. So-
Yeah.
Very, trying not to look like amused.
Yeah. And by the way, Tate is short, so this girl is shorter than her than them.
Yeah,
That's pretty short.
this girl
'Cause
might be.
Tate's 5'3" when they're wearing high boots.
She's maybe 4'10" to 5 foot. You're not entirely sure because she is wearing like standard issue like Starfleet uniform boots, but you could probably assume somewhere between like 5'10", not 4'10", 4'11". It's a fairly short gal.
Okay. And so if I see Jaloryn, I just go over to the commander. I say, Commander, this is Vivian McCoy. And Vivian McCoy, she's here to talk to Lieutenant Mira about. I just blanked on Mira's last name.
Loris.
Loris. Yeah, Mira Loris about being her medical aid.
Oh, I see. I do recall seeing the application in the pads.
Yeah, I not that I'm anticipating like just a face-to-face to be a guarantee. I just think it's a better goodwill gesture than just the pad.
Definitely shows
Gutsy.
initiative.
Right.
Indeed.
I guess you can lead me that direction, or just point me that direction. I'm through the threshold of the door, so the chance of me getting cold feet at this point is less likely to happen.
But you still wouldn't be able to make it to the rest of the floors without one of us.
Commander,
That's
I
a
need to talk
good
to
point.
Commander. I need to talk to Kabai for me. Can you take her to the lieutenant?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Before this poor thing gets dragged off, I'm gonna come up behind her and just be like, very encouraging, any sort of positive vibes I can give off, because I feel bad for them now. I'll just whisper to them, "You got this."
Sure
And just,
do, she says with half confidence, half totally not.
Oh, I like them. But yeah, I will hang back with Tate then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tate's gonna. If we're continuing with our part of the scene, Tate's gonna take you to their office.
And I don't think Kabai has ever been in here before. What's it like?
Okay, so Tate's office has a few of the finished ship models in the background, like on a shelf in the back. The rest of it's pretty standard Starfleet office, but because Tate, you would know by now Tate loves ships, so everywhere that they can put them, they just put them there. And on the desk is a picture of a much younger Tate with their mother, the Admiral. It's kind of a formal picture. It's not like one of those like oh, they were out on a picnic or something. It's a more formal picture. Like
That makes sense for them, totally.
Yeah.
Are any of the models within like grabby hands distance?
Well, Tate's short, so they have to be within Tate's arm reach. So depending on how tall Goodbye is. How tall is Goodbye?
I wrote this down actually. I wanted to say she's an inch taller than me, so I want to say 5'8", but let me double check because it's not come up before.
If Goodbye is 5'8", then definitely they're within gravity distance.
Okay.
But they're behind Tate's desk.
Gotcha.
So if you want, reach over to the desk and grab them. But
I think
not polite grabby distance.
Yeah, that's the key difference there. I think she'll definitely remark on them then. Ooh, I like the models. Did you build those yourself?
Yes, I've been building models since I was little. It was my special interest growing up, and it sort of just never left.
I like that. I never had the opportunity to get into any sort of craft work, but I've always admires those that do. It's nice to have a hobby.
It is. I just want you to know that this conversation is going to be off the record.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, during our rescue mission, you contacted people who were part with Orions and Vulcans, and they showed up.
If I had a smile on their face, that immediately fades.
Who did you contact?
I
didn't mention anything at the time because we need all the help we could get, but I need to know.
Right. Well, let's just... Family. And there's a very definite, like, wave of, like, bitterness and disgust.
I take it family you're not very fond of?
No. To put it quite simply, I believe it is common knowledge that I was not Starfleet when I arrived here.
The commander mentioned it.
I've said it before, but it bears repeating. It would have been better for me to request asylum. My family are... let's just say they live up to Orion's stereotypes.
Explains the negotiating they did with my mother.
And for that, I deeply apologize.
Oh no, that's fine. My mother will probably be angry at me about this for a little bit longer, but...
She definitely raises a brow at that. Angry at you for something that was beyond your control.
Well, not angry. That's probably wrong. She'll be slightly annoyed about it for a little bit. She doesn't like people talking to her the way I get the impression that your family did.
Understandable. I'm so used to D&D. What's the read I get off Tate from that? Like, do I have any sort of insight on...
Like, what read are you looking for?
Yeah.
Do they speak about their mother? Like, is there a tone that suggests, oh, we've got similar attitudes towards our parents, or that kind of thing? Kindred spirit, I guess.
I will say this. Tate's tone, you've heard them mention their mother a couple times, and their tone has always been formal. not necessarily that like
Okay, so definitely a distance there.
definitely some like Tate's talked to their mother before, but they're not estranged, but yeah, there is a distance there.
Gotcha.
It's formal.
Okay. Very noted.
At least on Tate's part.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, if there is anything that you would find pertinent to know, I am an open book. You're free to ask me anything.
What exactly does your family do? You alluded to Orion stereotypes, but I'd like some specifics just in case we ever have to deal with them. They don't sound, no offense to you, but they don't sound like the kind of people who will leave you alone once they got you in their sights.
No, it was quite a desperate situation. I am learning to have better impulse control. She kind of like stares off into the middle distance for a second as if like that was something that was being talked about. I have far better patience when it comes to my work as opposed to anything else, especially when it comes to family. Do you want the full list?
If you're comfortable.
Thievery of all types. Few counts of, well, racketeering. So much drug trade. So much drug trade. From anything I uncovered personally, I am aware of some trafficking, as well as my entire existence. And she'll smile as if it's a joke, but it comes off very flat.
Your entire existence?
I'm something of an experiment. Please don't spread that around.
Well, like I said, this is off the record. I'm not going to tell anyone unless I need to.
Yes. They sort of shift a little awkwardly as if like they kind of hadn't realized that it even came out of their mouth and are just processing still. I'm a little bitter about it, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Understandable.
Nothing I need to worry you with.
Well, you're under my command. Your safety is my job. So.
I appreciate that.
You don't have to tell me anything you're not comfortable with, but if you are in danger, do tell me.
At present, I haven't heard back from them directly yet, which surprises me if I'm being a little honest, but they know my location now. But given how quickly they arrived to our location...
They might have already known.
Yes. Leave it to my fathers to figure things out a lot quicker than I ever expect. They're very intelligent men.
But I have names to go with these two?
Yes. Hang on. On the Vulcan side, my dad, Jazin. And on the Orion side, she sort of like grimaces. Stolas. They're both formally known as diplomats to their respective home planets. Depending on what news coverages that you follow, one would be more known than the other. Stolas is a very, very prominent figure, at least in their small little circle.
Okay.
And
Oh.
in case you were wondering as to why my existence is the problem, I am their biological child, to put it mildly.
I figured that part.
They couldn't leave well enough alone.
And you hear under their breath that Thor comes out like just like my mother, but they don't say it very loudly. It's like it just comes
Oh,
out.
it's almost like a reflex.
Yeah.
Vulcan hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kavai definitely they definitely relax a little bit, because just being around someone who has that like undercurrent of like, I dislike my parents' decisions is kind of like, I don't know. It's definitely something they're not used to having in common with anyone. So it's nice isn't the right word, but it's nice.
Yeah, and you were there on the ship when the admiral ordered Tate to take offline
The EMH.
the artificial EMH.
Oh,
and,
yeah, no. Kavai's personal opinion, that woman's a bitch.
Yeah, and like you saw that Tate didn't agree with it, but it was Tate's job to carry out the orders, so that's what they did.
Yep. It's very much they 110% understand and relate very strongly.
Yeah, Tate's starting to relate to, and they're not necessarily sure if they like that this is something they can relate to.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of kindred spirits for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me this. I will be telling the commander a few things, but I won't tell her everything unless things become dire, as in lives are at stake.
Understood. I think that they have the gist on most of it on their own anyway.
Yeah, but I don't like keeping secrets from the commander, so.
Completely understandable.
Well, I'm glad you're going to therapy. I'm glad you're getting help with some stuff. That's very nice. Very good to hear.
Thank you. It is far less judgmental than I was led to believe it was.
Really?
Yes,
You can tell with that question Tate's never been to therapy.
yes, it's, very much not what I thought it was. It's... I thought it would... Originally, my fathers led me to believe it was something only crazy people did, or that you had to be forced into it, or that you were weak for needing to go. But instead, it's
classic social gaslighting.
Yeah. It's very much a case of working through things, or just it's far more conversational than I was led to believe. And my therapist doesn't mind when I go off on tangents about relating things to media, which I appreciate. Turns out we have several shows in common.
Citation officers are great. They are tangent central.
Yep.
Why they're good at science-based work.
We're absolute sure.
Alright.
I think Tate gets slightly awkward at the end because they don't have anything else to say. And it's like, well, I'm glad we had this talk. I have paperwork to deal with right now.
Oh, yeah, don't let me keep you.
Mm.
Thank you again for understanding. I'll get out of your hair.
Yeah.
I think they
Like-
kind of loiter for a second and take note of, like, would there be any sort of, like, class of ship that's, like, not represented?
What do you mean?
Like, if someone were to, like, spur of the moment get a gift, what would be, like, missing from your collection that would stand out?
You notice it's mostly Federation ships. There's like
Okay,
maybe one
perfect.
or two allied people's ships, but not very. It's mostly Federation.
One that was probably missing would be, a Vulcan Science class, like, capital ship. Those are not super common.
Very noted.
Joe with the save. Thank you, Joe.
Alright, well, Kavai will definitely head out. Probably still early for their shift, but definitely wanting to get something to eat before.
Okay. As you head, and actually, this is a good time to introduce, like, the full effect of the Madrid field office mess hall, because it's got its own kitchen and stuff like that, and there are a couple of, like, non-commissioned officers that generally that is their job. They just help feed the crew here.
With Kavai's long holodeck hours, like they've made themselves at home in the mess
Oh yeah,
for sure.
just one
Like-
of them, a Denobulan, as she's kind of going through and, like, prepping, like, just doing all the, like, the mise en place stuff before, you know, putting it all and stuff so she can access it for cooking, just whatever. Takes note of your arrival. This is strange. You're here about 6 hours earlier than usual, so I can only assume that I've fallen into an alternate dimension.
Hey, I'm allowed to be early. Nah, I had a appointment this morning. Tried
Right.
out the therapist you recommended, actually.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Though-
actually nice.
Though there was a tangent, that, you know, that they go off of. I think it's the same one. It's the engineering core thing. They do it like twice. Either way, that's not here nor there. You're here, which means you're here for what's behind me. So I suppose, any particular, craving desire, something light, something savory, something salty, something sweet.
Well, I think I've been pizzaed out for the rest of my life. So maybe something more breakfasty sweet. Pancakes? Is that too much to ask?
Have you ever had pancakes with any type of, something that's very famous in, like, this, planet's country of Japan, like red bean paste or mochi?
Five shakes their head. Mm-mm. Although I've been meaning to try it, Loris got me into this whole crazy show, this, like, animated program. Love it. Definitely want to try stuff from there.
Mochi
I hear
pancakes.
good-
I'll do that.
Thank you.
It doesn't take that long. It seems like they are aware that you are just a presence that they have to contend with at all times.
Yeah.
So they just
Mhm.
have stuff on the way. The mochi pancakes are a little bit thicker than the normal. They are more springy and a little bit more chewy, and it's kind of like dense foam of air is the like textury like feel that you get, but the
As is my
sensation.
tradition, I'm gonna roll to see if Kawaii
Mhm.
likes this or not.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I think this might be their new favorite food. I rolled a 1 for that. They're
Oh no.
so into this. Just big ol' sparkly eyes. This is my new favorite thing. I can never go back to regular pancakes. You've outdone yourself. Just, they get all of the praise in the world.
They quickly like just reach under the countertop and hand over what is like essentially like a printed card like stock. Yeah, we figured that was gonna happen. It's essentially a grocery list, measurements, and like timings and stuff.
Ooh. Oh gosh, Kawaii does not know how to cook. This will be fun.
But we will
Thank you. I'm
shift
excited to
as
try
you
this.
continue going through to the Sol Madrid medical office. Commander Jaloryn, you have led Vivian McCoy to this area. The door is shut, and she kind of just is staring at the door, realizing the moment she steps through that threshold, that's the first impression. And Lieutenant Loris is on the other side. This is really
Do still remember to breathe, yes.
Yeah, no,
Ensign?
I went to Starfleet medical training. I can remember to breathe. It's just
Well, you seem to have forgotten for a moment.
right. I'm stepping through the door. She'll just open the door and Lieutenant
Jaloryn is close behind her.
Loris, you are greeted with a young woman who is of a really short stature compared to yourself. She is about, just upon like estimation, like 4'10" to 4'11". She is wearing the medical white and teal blues. She has the rank of an ensign, and just looking through one of the files, you can tell she was one of the personal recommendations. Lieutenant Loris, hi. I don't really know how else to make an impression.
Hey, you don't gotta make an impression. The only impression you gotta make is with hard work. That's what I think. I can't say that I always say it because I don't. Anyway, greetings.
Thank you, ma'am. I just decided I think a personal visit would go a long ways in for personal recommendations than just seeing a pad is just you know perhaps asking me questions firsthand or things like that. I've been told by a couple of my professors at the academy that a face-to-face discussion is much more effective than just a video call, or depending on the recommendations.
Going for a good first impression.
Yeah,
You know
still
what?
very
I do
nervous.
like
I'm not
people
sure how I'm
who
doing.
go a step further. Nah, you're doing fine. Don't worry. I mean, it feels boring, but in general, it's gonna be alright. So, I should ask you questions, huh? Right?
I mean,
Sorry, I'm like.
I mean, if you want to, yeah, you can ask questions.
I
Yeah,
think you two
sorry,
are
I
going to
was
get along
promoted like.
fabulously.
Oh yeah, that does sound like it, huh? Anyway, alright. So first of all, um, how are you with stressful situations? Cause, you know, this is an extremely stressful profession.
Well, I think depending on the situation, the experience will vary, but a couple of my teachers at the academy have told me that I have a capacity for psychological compartmentalization under dire, stress.
Okay, a lot of complicated words I'm hearing here, but if there is another ship blasting at us, like, you know, full full throttles, and we have to fix a guy's heart.
The ship's not the concern, the
Will
patient
y-
is.
Boom, bingo, good job. Anyway, so also, have you ever held a liver in your hand? Like a human liver?
Not in a high stress situation, but yes.
Good. Last thing, I'm probably not supposed to be asking this, but I guess. Are you good with paperwork and how to organize the words on the tab? You know,
Lieutenant,
that stuff.
my medical specialties are as a triage nurse, a trauma surgeon when the time calls for it, but my real specialty lies in genetic gene splicing and manipulation.
That gets Jaloryn's attention real quick.
I think that's part of why they recruited me into intelligence, for pre-warp societies to observe without disturbing the ecosystem, as it were.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. I'm guessing you're gonna have to be out and about a lot, huh?
Not necessarily. If I take a position like this, that will be determined by the ranking officer. In this case, that would be you, though there will be certain instances in which I will have to have other duties, but the primary duty would fall under the primary assignment.
Understandable. Quick question to the DM. The complexion of them, like, are they scrawny? Are they like well built?
She's a small woman, but I would say she definitely has a lot of signs that she is does well with nutrition and diet and is athletically healthy.
Well, anyway, I'm so sorry. She's still hung up about having to write all those reports. Anyway, so Mira gets like a little bit serious. She kind of circles her. Um, she's trying not to look too menacing, but she just definitely circles her, trying to like really evaluate the person that she might be working with in the future. Well, you do got the running legs, so that's good. Um, Other than that, yeah, you sound like a good qualified person.
I don't expect a
And
decision right away, Lieutenant. I know you have a lot of other pads, but I figured I'd make the first impression since I was in the area.
yeah, I get it. I'm just, what's the point of just hanging it over you? Like, ooh, you might not be chosen. That's such a tacky thing to do. So, just gonna encourage you or something. That's what leaders do, right? That's
Yeah, I think so. Your personality reminds me a lot of my great grandfather, and it's both endearing and a little terrifying in certain aspects.
You'll get used to it
okay.
after a little bit.
Now I feel kind of sad. Anyway, nice to meet you. And she like offers her hand
Yeah, she'll take it.
for a handshake.
There is no hesitation. There's no fear on that end. She just does it.
That's like very telling, and Mira like obviously super likes that. He would meet.
I won't take any more of your time, Lieutenant. I'm sure you're busy, so, Commander, thank you for taking the time out of your day to guide me on this impromptu field trip of mine.
Of course. You can find your way back out, yes?
Yes, I think I have gotten to the stage of breathing, so I think I can find my way out again.
See you first thing in the morning.
She doesn't really respond to that, because she's... That still, despite everything, is coming out of left field, so she's gonna like, okay, and just leaves.
It might take you a moment to realize that Jaloryn has been, like, speaking from the CMO's office.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point she has managed to sidle over there.
It's a. She is kind of like surprised by that, but you know, the higher ups do what they gotta do. It's a change of pace. Maybe she wanted a different view out of the window.
It doesn't take you long to figure out that she seems to have been on the hunt for something in particular.
Mira kind of leans a little bit. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, she's been working away at the desk.
Just kind of leans a little bit over, like, so any help needed? I think I can lift this desk up.
She just chuckles at that. I think I've got everything that I need here. Just finishing the last few transfers here. And then I'll get out of your hair. I'm sure you want to rearrange this in the manner that you prefer.
Yeah, you're gonna have to switch the chief medical office to something that is suitable to you.
Oh, right, I gotta remodel and stuff. And I had to do this with my flat, too. It's honestly such a bother. Does it have to look like yours? Because yours looks like really cool and with a lot of trophies, and I got none of that.
It is the chief of department's office is designed to however that chief of the department feels.
So if you want it to look like Jaloryn's, go for it. She's not going to stand in the way.
It would be so funny though. You walk into her office and it's just like the perfect copy of Jaloryn's office, and she's like, "It's the table." It would be such a funny thing. She'll redesign it. She'll like put stuff in there. She'll figure things out. For now, it's not like a priority in her book. As long as she has a desk to sit on and sit behind, and such. She kind of again turns to Jaloryn, and if If you need anything carried to where you need it, I can help you out. I will be clearing a lot of this out, like around today, tomorrow.
Of course, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'll let you do your thing. It's good to make this space your own. It helps you feel a little bit more settled and make it yours.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you so much for being here right now, cause I wouldn't have as much confidence in talking to the newbies if it wasn't for you being here.
I'm glad I could provide some support, even if it wasn't. Even if it was just more quiet.
It's the aura you have. That's what it's called, right? The big boss
Vibe.
aura. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, again, thank you. She
course.
gives her like a really wide smile. She's very sincere about this.
Okay.
She returns it easily.
Yeah, the whole office and that whole medical meet and going through all of them, Lieutenant Loris, there are only a couple of individuals that even stick out, like, after that individual, like, who even remotely catch your eye after that point. Obviously, there is Ensign Vivian McCoy, who noted all of her specialties. The other one is someone who just goes by the name Ollie. They are a human betazoid. They seem to specialize in just crisis and disaster triage. And then there is Zavin, who is much more leveled for just like the standard, like, to be your equal in the chief medical officer aspect.
Hmm. So I have to choose right now.
Not necessarily right now, but soonish. And it's between those three are the only ones that really stick out. The others were very promising, but you're looking for slightly unique perspectives, and a lot of them were standard fare that Starfleet was like, hey, these might be good people, and you've just been going through. It's like, nope, 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 okay, yep, no, 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 and then you end up with these three as like your choices.
Would the other two be able to come to work for the office, just not be as medical aid?
They would not be medical aid, and they would be more of what would fall under as medical aid reserve. So, as opposed to like whoever is the aid will always be accompanying the chief medical officer on potentially off-world missions or something like that. They would not be qualified to do that. They would have to stay behind at the base of operations.
Vivian sounds like a perfect pick for so far. I mean, well, it's a little bit biased considering she came in and introduced herself personally. But the other two seem very competent, and she's also kind of reading up on in the files. Is there anything of their experiences before the academy, or
Yeah.
like during? No.
Yeah, there are a couple. There's not really anything experienced via academy, but she is someone who is of a legacy lineage. She is the great granddaughter of Dr. Leonard McCoy, who served aboard the original Enterprise, the NCC 1701, during the
Yo, what?
2260s. Um, And during such time and all of that, lots of notable discoveries and cures were done by her great-grandfather and stuff like that. Her personal record is fairly normal childhood for the most part, aside from, having somewhat famous lineage. She does have a particular little bit of interesting thing that is helpful when it comes to like particular surgeries. She is 100% ambidextrous. She does not have a dominant left or right. She can flip between the two with damn near precision, is what some of her training instructors have said. And her vision is about equivalent to a shuttle pilot's, so she can lock in on things very precisely.
Alright, she's good. And one thing that Mira is like very conscious about is she doesn't want it to seem like she's like being nepotist, whatever. Of course, she doesn't really like Vivian, and she wouldn't know much. She only knows like the name of the person. She doesn't know much about. Okay, happy. She doesn't know much about the whole history, the legends. Only like the things that she heard on the streets. Again, it's like she hasn't been off Earth much before she joined the academy. So it's kind of, she doesn't care much, but she's a bit conscious about what people might think about her decision, because again, it's the first major decision she's making here.
Right. We're gonna let you hang on that decision for a little bit because something very interesting is about to happen as Kavai is probably finishing up on, I don't know what serving number of mochi pancakes you are at.
At least 3.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, is the stack of pancakes like, what, how tall is it?
One mochi pancake is about a half-inch thick.
Yeah. Nobody has quite figured out where Kavai puts away all the food that they consume, but they eat a ton.
Yep.
And pancakes are a thing with this crew.
You also get
Nice.
a notification from your own personal pad, and it is a priority 1 message request. For notes, priority 1s don't typically come to NCOs. Not very often. If at all.
I'm going to look at this like it's a mistake. Was this intended for me? What's going on here? I'll open it up.
Message reads, Origin Point. Starfleet Central Command, Extrasolar Operations. Officer request. Kavai, Petty Officer 3rd Class. Central Command at 1600 Pacific. Mission briefing will follow. CO is to attend as well. Jaloryn, you've gotten something similar.
Who is this from?
Who specifically? Not really sure. It is only from the... All you know is from the Starfleet Intelligence Office of Extrasolar Operations.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all. My hackles are raised. I think... Whereas normally Kavai would have some chatter or banter with their friend in the mess. I think they very uncharacteristically just stand up with this pad, abandon like the mouthful of like the last remaining bit of food they were going to eat, and walk out and start heading towards Jaloryn's office.
Yeah, Jaloryn's probably there waiting already. Because Jaloryn's just
Oh,
as
absolutely.
in the dark at this one.
I think I'll ring the door chime.
It was a very terse enter.
I think just holding out the pad. Have you seen this? Like, no preamble, just very much a what the fuck is up with this? Help.
It doesn't take her long to see that Jaloryn is studying something very intently on her pad.
I will take a seat, sort of toss my pad down, and like, yeah, no, Kavai's a prior. She'll just like peek.
Jaloryn just quirks another eyebrow out and like just tilts the pad towards her.
I'll
take
like
it you're referring to something like this? And it's like the same priority one message.
yes, okay. Right. Okay. I think they clasp their hands together. What does this mean? Concern just all over them.
I can delve a little only because Jaloryn knows a tiny bit of what extrasolar operations does. Extrasolar operations is generally an intelligence field that is for linguistic translation of lesser interacted with species, or deep cover intel gathering.
Oh, so many red flags. There have to be better people to ask for this than me.
We won't know that until we actually go to the mission briefing. But it seems they've decided you have particular qualifications for this mission.
All right. Right. Okay.
She taps at one thing in particular. It says I'm to be there as well, so you won't be there alone.
I appreciate that.
She looks at the chrono on the wall. We're gonna have to book it if we want to get there in time.
You can use the shuttle on the roof that will get you there in about 20 minutes, or you can use the transporter and that will get you damn near there instantly.
She's gonna opt to, she's gonna shoot a message to Tate, letting them know that she's outside of the headquarters for a little bit, but we'll be back shortly. However, shortly means. And then she's gonna lead Kavai towards the roof. So she's gonna take the shuttle.
I dutifully follows.
Okay.
I think they do pause to like actually go back to their desk just to grab like a few resources that they usually work with.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, pretty quick.
Okay. The shuttle, for this one, just because it has the most aerodynamic and it does have the most speed, is a Type 9. Taking off and going through, there's no traffic problems or anything like that, because, city infrastructure and aerial flight in this day and age are way better. But you get to San Francisco, and you get to the Starfleet Intelligence Command Center, which is fairly busy, actually, as there is...
Have we been here before?
No, you've
Jaloryn has.
been at
Well, naturally.
yeah, Jaloryn's been here. You've been at, like, the Starfleet, like, Command Intelligence. This is, like, an off building. That's nearby, but you haven't ever been at this one.
Okay. Kavai still treats being here like a tourist attraction, I think, for the most part.
The difference here...
Which was kind of Jaloryn's whole point with taking the shuttle. It serves as a convenient distraction.
Scenic. Very scenic.
Yes. There is more activity here than usual, and there are, interestingly enough, there's 2 shuttles, 2 Type 11s, which are massive shuttles in comparison to the Type 9. Because a Type 11 shuttle, I believe its standard crew complement is 5, but it can house up to 25 if it needs to. There are about 24 to 30, just because of the movement, it's hard to count them efficiently, but there are about 30 Starfleet Marine officers that are being put to work, which is a little unusual.
Jaloryn notes them, but she doesn't pay them much mind. She just ensures that Kavai stays close.
Okay. Entering into... Yep.
Yeah, she leads them towards where they're supposed to be going.
Yep. It is a... It's not... It doesn't help the vibe for you, Kavai. Jaloryn's used to this, because they've had briefings in places like this. But if you ever think of, like a civil courtroom, and half of it is the lights are dimmed, that's kind of the feeling, or the vibe that's being set here. As there is a table to sit at for the CO, and presumably yourself, Kavai.
Gotcha. Is there anyone else here before us?
Not currently, doesn't seem like it.
Okay. Kavai definitely busies themselves with, like, some sort of project on their pad for sure.
Okay.
Jaloryn opts to remain standing, basically as just quiet support, but also keeping an eye on what's going on around.
Okay. There are a few minutes that pass where it's just that awkward, just the two of you in this room, and the slight clicking of the pad button seem to just reverberate and echo throughout the room. You can almost hear your own heartbeat a little bit, before the back room door opens, letting in a tiny bit of, like, white and blue filtered light. But we're going to take our 10 minutes at this point, and we will jump back into it. So, guys, who are watching, go hydrate, go grab food if you haven't do that. Stretch, do what you need to do, because that's good, and we like when people do good people things. But we will
We're people?
We will be right back. Okay, before I have to wrap my brain around that, welcome back, everyone. Uh, hope you all grabbed water and hydrated, because we certainly did, and it is, water's good.
Hell yeah.
Especially for those of us that suffer, hot or humid temperatures. It's really, really
Oh
nice.
yeah.
Uh, but anyways, jumping back into the game, as Kavai and Commander Jaloryn are in this room, a door opens and there is. Don't tell me that, Vance. Gross. But uh, a set of individuals exit. They're primarily captain in rank. Captains that Jaloryn you've actually never seen or heard from. There is a rear admiral here. And takes a little doesn't take you long to realize who this is, because their child has a similar face to
The
your.
family resemblance is strong.
Yes, it is.
I would like to note that Kavai would stand
Okay.
at that point.
At ease, you too. Just as a reminder to our audience, if you wanted a reference to kind of who this person sort of looks like, Katie Seagal is your reference. But kind of notes each of you. I'm sure you all have questions. The two of you have questions.
I imagine we'll be getting answers soon enough.
Put plain and simply, Petty Officer 3rd Class Kavai is an asset that we can't pass up in this operation, if she is willing.
Whatever I can do to help, sir.
What exactly is this operation?
Getting close to an important individual from the Orion Dark Sun Syndicate.
Ah,
Specialization in specific type of galactic narcotics, as well as trafficking. And unfortunately, they fall under a little bit more xenophobic tendencies.
I think Kavai definitely has to resist the urge to roll their eyes as if, like, oh, that's undercutting that.
So they would be immediately suspicious of anyone not
with
Orion.
descent. We understand that the has a somewhat complicated heritage, but we're confident they'll look past that tidbit.
Do I have an idea of who she's hinting at?
To
Already?
some degree,
Yeah.
the Dark Sun Orion Syndicate is it's a branching piece of the Syndicate stuff that your father works with. It's a branching piece. Oh, it's like an offshoot of it. It doesn't get a huge amount of attention from the primary Syndicate itself. It's like a cell piece, but it is a cell piece that clearly that intelligence can no longer, or Starfleet as a whole, can ignore any further.
Gotcha. Sorry, just writing stuff in my notes.
The operation
Same.
is fairly simple on paper and complicated in practice. The
As
individual,
most undercover operations happen to be.
the individual in question has children roughly Kavai's age, if maybe a year or two younger, attending an Orion Academy of Sciences. We'd like Kavai to gather intel and perhaps get in good graces with them as to report their father's movements and plans.
I think. I think Kavai is like definitely like mulling this over a lot more than they're willing to admit, like knowing what type of situation this is. Would, with how well known their parents are, and Kavai's past in particular, is getting into this group going to be difficult just based on that?
Probably not
That-
initially. The problem would come from if they come to like realize like, oh yeah, you have a connection. Then they might try and leverage. They don't. There's a good sense that they won't do anything actively aggressive towards you, but they might try and use your presence to leverage favors from your father.
Yeah, that's the more.
Yeah, that's where Jaloryn's concern is gonna go, is like, wouldn't they know who Kavai is? Wouldn't they recognize her? And wouldn't that tip off Kavai's parents? Particularly since they now know where Kavai is.
Yes, it doesn't seem right. Is there something I can like roll to try and figure out the angle here? Because Kavai doesn't really have the best impression of Tate's mom.
Yeah, inside security.
Okay.
Inside security, difficulty 2.
What die do I trust today?
Which I will put 3 points of threat on top of that.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna go with you and the green one. Okay. Can I... Oh, God. Okay.
That's increasing the complication range, right?
Yes. If you pick up another die, that will increase the complication range, but you would get an extra die out of that. Well, no, you give me a point of threat, and then... But yes, the points of threat add complication range. So the complication range is 17 to 20.
Are people okay if I take another die?
We don't have any momentum.
So,
Yeah, so I kind of...
I mean,
have
Tate's mom, as the person who came up with the idea of Tate's mom, yeah, she's suspect. Go ahead.
Okay. And what were the rolls again? One more time? I'm sorry.
Insight and security, though I guess you could argue reason security as well, depending on how you feel.
They're the same for me. Okay. Hey, these are not bad. rolled a 4, 5, and oh god, mine is real bad. And 11. That's okay. All pretty good.
3
yeah.
successes. Yeah, 3
Cool.
successes.
Gain 1 momentum.
All right. Lock that down.
Well, the difficulty was...
Difficulty was 3.
I thought it was 2. Sorry.
Wait, no, nope, you're right. It is. I did
You're
say 2.
right. Yeah, it was 2, so we do
I
get
said-
1 momentum.
Yep, you're right. I
Okay,
said
cool.
3 threat. That's why I confused myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do have 1 momentum. Looking in on this, she's a hard woman to read, but there is a... You can't identify it specifically, but there is definitely... This is definitely part of something that needs to happen in her mind, but there's another angle that's being simultaneously worked on at this stage.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid. Yeah, this is very much like, yeah, Tia reminds me of her dad a lot. Too much. Okay. Therefore, she's willing to play nice and go along with this. Very dutifully nods as if, yep, this is all up on the up and up. This is good. And definitely trying real hard to tamp down that suspicion and, like, disdain. Just trying to chalk it up to being uncomfortable with the surroundings, if anything.
If you're concerned about your father finding out, we will send a supply of fresh, unmarked gold latinum you may use at your leisure to bribe said parties of interest to keep your presence out of the open ear of the public.
Definitely, like, leans into that and will put on her own sort of Orion fronting. Ah, yes, I think that should do nicely then. And sort of, like, puts on a polite, if trying to play up their heritage sort of smile.
Okay. Common knowledge for both Jaloryn and Kavai. The Federation does not deal in unmarked, like, gold latinum. They do not like that. So the
Yeah,
fact
this is
that
weird.
this is unmarked means there's a lot of moving parts in this operation, and there's a lot of gray space in an operation like this.
Hang on, I gotta roll something else for myself. God damn it, Kavai, I'm so disappointed in you. Damn this die. Okay. Alright. Yeah.
Jaloryn is going to look at Kavai and just try to make it very clear that ultimately the decision is theirs if they want to participate. She isn't going to order them to go on this operation. So she's giving Kavai
Like an
a
out.
subtle out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, Kavai doesn't do well with any sort of pressure. And I think she's way, way too curious about what the heck is going on here. I will assist you as best I can with this.
Delightful to hear. And Commander, to put any reservations of yours at rest, rather than assigning a different handler to Kavai, seeing as you're someone who has at least experience with having a handler, your team as well as you will be directly influencing the mission. However, orders will come from our team here.
I will trust, Admiral, that you understand that for a delicate operation such as this one, we'll need a great deal of flexibility.
Absolutely. But I have to stress as well, Commander, despite as much flexibility as I can grant you, we do have to approach this with a particular razor's edge.
I'm certainly familiar with Razor's Edge.
Good, then as you trust me to trust you with your flexibility, I will trust that you can do this without causing as much stress as you did with your previous hearings earlier this week.
That earns the Admiral a steely grin. Of course.
Understandably, the USS Hypatia is recognized as a vessel of more being in the public eye. So that will not be the vessel you will be taking for such an operation.
Which one have we been granted for today?
She doesn't have a name. She doesn't have a Federation registry, and she certainly does not have anything that is potentially acquired for what might be deemed by the wider eye as unsanctioned technology. But for simplicity's sake, you'll be granted a Sao Paulo class vessel, fast, sleek, and does come with the ability to do its own cloaking maneuvers and sensory manipulations and echoes.
Perfect. Anything else we need to know, Admiral?
Yes, you depart in 48 hours. I would select your team, your crew, and your equipment accordingly. And I will be spearheading this mission from planet side.
Understood, Admiral.
I understand that the director and vice director of your office typically allow you your own autonomy. I will grant that to you as much as possible. Just understand, I'm not an admiral that likes being ignored.
I've already got that sense.
Good, then you're dismissed.
After you, Admiral. She just gestures to the door they came in through.
As we're on our way out, I very deliberately, make a Vulcan salute.
A sarcastic Vulcan salute?
You would pick up yes. Kavai is trying their damnedest not to have it come off that way.
Alright, as Jaloryn and, Admiral Mahil play, Dismissal Chicken, I'm actually gonna roll for this and see who cracks first. Oh. Die's gone. I found it. Oh my god. She cracks first. There's a long pause before it
Hey!
happens, but
Nice.
she does crack first, but she does give you a look of like, this is the only time I'm gonna allow you to pull this shit. You're gonna pull this shit against me once, and it will never happen again. But the rest of the board will leave as well. You're not really sure why they were present, other than maybe record keeping, but you assume they're probably have their
Are
own
any
hand
of
in the
them
operation.
notable?
No, you've never seen these captains before.
Okay.
If Tate were there, Jaloryn, they'd be telling you just made a lifelong enemy.
Oh, she knows it already. She doesn't like the suspicious vibes coming off of that woman, whether she knew the connection to Tate or not.
Yeah. Exiting Kavai for you specifically, exiting the extrasolar like operations building. It's like pressure lifting off your shoulders because everything just becomes like normal courtyard stuff again.
I turn back to the commander. Can I have someone go in with me?
Absolutely.
I want Tate.
I'll make the appropriate arrangements.
If you can, try to slow down that information from getting to that Admiral.
Oh, I intend to.
Thank you. Just very icy.
Which is like equally matched from Jaloryn.
I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Right?
I think there's like another like beat or two before. While we're here, I hear there's supposed to be something called taffy.
Jaloryn lights up. I know just the spot.
Fantastic. I make it a point to try something new everywhere I go.
Jaloryn, it is not lost on you that they said you have 48 hours to get ready. So, I mean, it's better than 24 hours, but 48 hours for a mission of this magnitude, it's not a lot of time.
But she figures they have enough time to go pick up a snack.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I rolled this one too. Not a fan of the taffy, which, you know, fitting. I don't like that shit either. But
it gets stuck, like, a lot.
it's popular here.
There's always time for a snack.
Hell yeah. It is much stickier than I was led to believe. Just picking bit out of her teeth.
For some, it is certainly an acquired taste.
I was not expecting the salt.
Personally, that's one of my favorite parts.
Tastes too much like swimming in the ocean.
I hadn't really thought of it that way. Still think it's good.
Alright, getting back in the shuttle is probably, like, escaping a suffocating environment. Even with, like, the courtyard din and all of that, it's still just being away from that is probably welcome.
Oh, 110%. Anything that's, like, not near that many people, this is much preferred. And I think for all of that said, Kavai definitely would shoot a message to Tate and, like, just sort of, like, on a private channel, just be like, met your mom today. Very much reminds me of my parents. I'm sorry you had to grow up with that. But phrased a lot nicer.
Followed by probably the the addendum of like, oh yeah, speaking of.
Yeah. Pretty much I was thinking more since Kavai definitely wants them on the team to sort of pick their brain, but also definitely feeling like they would be useful. Puts a recommendation to have them cosmetically altered if they are okay with that.
That's something Jaloryn would ask about too, if Tate's okay with becoming, at least on the surface, Orion for a bit.
Like, if Kavai really wanted them to join, Tate would to help keep an eye on Kavai and stuff, and back up Kavai. Yes, they would.
Fantastic.
They also say, "I'm sorry, my mom left her normal impression."
I think you get back a couple stories about just very brief here's this one time my old man super embarrassed me. You definitely get some commiserating.
Okay. It's probably a few hours that go by. And the next morning, early morning, the two individuals that Jaloryn just maybe manipulated into being here, Anders and McCoy, actually, because her specialty is coming in use here. McCoy, Vivian gets in and sees the other nervous wreck that is Anders, and they are both,
Nervous.
yeah, for different reasons, but seeing that there's just when you have news of a mission like this, there's just a vibe that the building carries, and they're just like, what the fuck's going on?
What did I just land into?
But just so there's no illusions about this, if Tate does go with the cosmetic appearance for being on the ground, using Vivian McCoy's genetic splicing experience and how to manipulate DNA to on the surface do that, one, it's not perfect. It does have to be touched up every 24 hours. So that causes its own complication, which means you would have to return to ship periodically. During that time, Kavai would be by themselves. On top of that, for a mission like this, essentially you're playing the role of highfalutin societal members to some degree, infiltrating and getting close to members of a science academy on Orion, which means your defenses and armaments will be minimal at best. And you will be left with your wits, words, and whims. That's how you're going to have to play this.
Could I counter? Could I play this more almost in defiance of what they want and go in more honestly?
Yeah.
But still sort of fudging the truth a bit. I think Kavai would go in being like, yeah, no, my parents want me home. I know that they want me home. I'm just going to be bold enough to sort of draw them out. It's going to look like a bad infiltration, but it's just not subtle because Kavai doesn't do subtle.
Yeah. And like for like your father, that it actually that almost works to your benefit because that kind of gets you favor with the other group that you're supposed to get close to in some degree.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely more their style.
Okay.
And it sort
Right.
of shows defiance on every aspect of it.
Yeah, and it will in fact piss off Admiral Mahil a little bit because that will be
Just
going off script right from the jump, and
make everyone mad.
And
But it's like malicious compliance. That's the word I wanted.
yeah, kind of like the rebellious, dutiful return to do what Daddy
OMG,
wants.
r// malicious compliance.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Tate's a little uncomfortable with that because while they know how their mother is, they don't want to actually piss her off. But they're letting Kavai take the lead on this one because Kavai knows the area.
I feel like it's the best way to not get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you actually aren't on planet side yet, but you are like looking over the geography of Orion, a place that, typical Federation, not not allowed really. Um,
Mm-mm. Do we on our course to get here, would we happen to cross paths with the station that Kavai grew up in?
yes, you would.
I think they actually probably point that out to Tate.
Okay.
Yeah. If you see that back wing sort of towards the bottom, that's where I was well, I guess the term is grown. They don't like to talk about it much, but the entire operation there is all genetics.
This is probably being told in like a meeting hall or a mess or something like that. As actually, I don't know how much space you want, Tate, but like Vivian is going over with like a medical tricorder, collecting like any data, just like to make sure like if you are going planet side, I need to make sure that like my stuff doesn't fuck you up irreparably.
Tate lets her do her hovering if she needs to, if she feels like she needs to do it. They're going to go with the medical professionals on this.
The medical tricorder beeps like an alert that sounds unusual for a medical tricorder.
That doesn't sound good. What is it?
That is a problem, Commander. I didn't fully read your record as this kind of just got dropped on me pretty quickly. I was unaware that you are joined. We can still do
Is
the
there?
we can still do the splicing. The problem is the 24-hour mark is impossible. We can't keep it up for 24 hours. We can keep it up for I can push it out to 16, maybe 18. But
All right, do what you can. We'll work with it.
This is acceptable. I think she's jotting down like more notes.
I will make no illusions about this, Commander. I have no idea how this splicing is going to directly affect the symbiote long term.
Tate takes a deep breath and goes, "Understood."
Okay. Do the mess hall and all of that. For Lieutenant Loris, the medbay to any type of Defiant class vessel or variation of it is really small. So small. Like comparative to a Nova class, which has a crew of 80 usually, that's already a small medbay. This is about 1/3 the size of that because the Sao Paulo is meant, this specific Sao Paulo is meant more for the equipment aspect of staying hidden from sensors and relays and cloaking and all of that. which means you are granted a grand total of the primary surgery bed and 2 biobeds. That's about it. The
And
office is like a shoebox.
the crew is still big. So got this small room
The
for
crew for this vessel is actually only about 40 individuals, but it's been dropped down to 29.
Okay, no, yeah, we can handle this. I mean, hopefully not a lot of people will get injured. You know, throughout this entire thing, because then we'll have to lay them on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But that won't happen, right? That's not gonna happen.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
she's not. She's
It'll
not
be
happy
fine.
about it. But yeah,
Totally fine.
God, it can't
Yep.
be bad.
What is it? Yes. The vessel and the bridge commander is again way smaller than the Nova class. Like
Which she doesn't mind.
It's arguably like your office might be about the same size.
Yeah, and she's been on smaller.
And this is more of a high like profile mission, so actually someone who would normally stay behind is not staying behind. Lieutenant Commander Lee Jackson is at the helm this time. This is interesting, Commander. Usually I'm getting left behind for all the exciting stuff.
Well, I think this one's going to be extra exciting. Couldn't leave you behind for that.
Yeah, I think the last exciting thing that you and I did was deal with a particularly angry lieutenant with aggression problems.
Indeed. Hopefully it won't get quite that exciting, but...
Yeah, I read the mission briefing, or at least what I was qualified to read, Commander. Is there anything else that you can open the red tape, as it were?
We're gonna need to keep a close eye on 2 of them going down there.
I was told it was a survey mission of sorts, an intel gathering.
It is.
Then I saw Orion, which means it's not just that, which means it's way more complicated.
About 10 times more complicated.
Great.
As in, we need to extract as quickly as possible the moment things go wrong. Complicated.
Okay. Well, we're about to enter the Orion star system in 12 seconds. I won't lie, Commander, I do love that this ship can go at a standard maximum warp of warp 9.7. I really do like that. I wish the Hypatia could be upgraded a little bit more.
I'll put that in our next request.
Dropping out of warp, people in the mess hall and various areas with windows and such and view screens, you can see it. Orion is actually a very beautiful planet. It looks like it's about twice the size of Earth, and it looks like it has a booming civilization, tons of different ecosystems, and surrounded by like a couple of moons and like nebulous type of just space cloud and dust. As dropping out of warp, you only get to see it for a moment before this unmarked Sao Paulo class drifts into like some of that nebulous gas area and holds to a full stop. Okay. I'll hold us in this position, Commander. I would get your, I can't believe... This is what intelligence... I was gonna say your asset. Get Kavai ready. And have her take whatever appropriate clothing, stock of stealth communication devices, because we are not dropping communication with her if we can help it. And the Orion shuttlecraft that was granted with us is in the shuttle bay.
Fueled up and ready to go?
Fueled up that is acceptable to make sure that our story holds.
Excellent. Any signs that we may have been noticed?
None so far. If we were noticed, we were noticed as spatial echo, and they just don't care.
Right.
Commander.
I'll go get them ready. Go ahead.
Unofficially, Commander, I have a gut feeling that this is just... I don't know about this. Something feels off.
You and me both, Jaxa. You and me both. Keep a close eye on things up here.
I will let you know the minute something goes wrong.
And she heads off the bridge.
Okay. For you, Kavai, this is different. You haven't been around here in a long while.
No, they have not. And for that matter, Kavai is actually wearing a wig that looks very traditionally Orion. Very short, white hair. And their outfit is sleek, form-fitting, and they look as every bit as uncomfortable in it as you could imagine.
So, just so we can get a better visual depiction, are we talking something more regal, something more roguish, or something just in between?
Very much in the line of regal, what you would expect of someone of high class. It is what their former uniform as a diplomat in training.
Okay. Yep, that would make you uncomfortable, that's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can't transport, obviously, because that'll cause suspicion immediately.
Wouldn't want to, even if they could. I think they would puke at this point. Their nerves are on overdrive. I think they send Tate to the designated meeting place to do what they were supposed to do, to gather intelligence and start all that.
Mm-hmm.
They probably maintain the guys for about an hour, maybe two, and then slip. They're going to take back channels and probably meet up with one of their cousins is probably the best way to get back to her father's, like, one of his main safe houses.
Mm-hmm.
And They've probably changed the locks once or twice, but I think Kavai
At,
still knows how to get in.
at this point, it's with Jaloryn's like training. It's such child's play at this point. It's it's like opening a
Are they
wooden lock.
even trying?
It's like opening a wooden lock at this point.
Yeah.
Anything in particular in these safe houses that you're looking for, or just like a place of like discreet residence?
I think they're definitely expecting someone to be home. It's they know their parents' schedule pretty damn well.
Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, no one is present at this time.
Okay. I would definitely start rooting through stuff. I want whatever like their latest plans are, what the last like the highest score was essentially.
Okay.
Or any kind of deals.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna find something that's really gonna. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're gonna have to end with this information, aren't we? You do know your mission is to get close to these particular individuals using, meeting up with this individual's daughters to kind of get close and report that individual's movements. However, you are able to find like deals and stuff. You find the whole warp core traded business that was doing the Utopia Planitia thing, because that's just as
That's probably the way Kavai gets in of like finding the records of okay, it's going to be easiest to track if I go from this date. That kind of
yes.
thing.
And actually going backwards, there is a conversation with the Orion crime syndicates and the various cells, some which are good formed wills and some not. But there is a message exchange that is about a year old. Looks like it took place during and this would actually be actually before Jaloryn's time as a commander at the Madrid field office. It looks like it took place January 22nd, 2384. It's an encrypted message, but again, child's play at this point. It's essentially a quid pro quo. The United Federation of Planets is asking for the cooperation of the Orion Crime Syndicate in delivering medical aid to non-Federation colonies that are exterior to the Federation's jurisdiction. It has thus been denied for the longest time up until about 6 months ago, where a deal was being hashed out to essentially the crime syndicate agrees to, yeah, we'll agree to this if you look the other way to certain stuff. And in addition to that, there's a couple of syndicate like infighting and rivalries that we would like to take care of. Do that for us, you get your supply lines for medical aid to colonies that otherwise wouldn't have jurisdiction to do it, because the Orion Crime Syndicate, they're not beholden to any like border restrictions.
Well, at least it's in the guise of helping people, but is that all there is to that? who are these other parties? Who's getting eliminated here? What's the gossip?
One of the individuals, the person that you're looking into, is a individual by the name of Yuri. Specializes in galactic narcotics, interspecies trafficking trade, and as well as a something that is scientific in nature but cannot be identified. There's a decent profile of like his existence. Like, okay, he's 54 years old, had a promising career in like Orion Sciences until just fell in with a bad crowd and never left, and eventually ran part of it. His two daughters who took the science route and are thus learning in the Orion Science Academy, which is just, it's not as prevalent as like Vulcan or anything, but it's something. They
Have I ever run across them before?
No, they appear to be relatively like kept out of like general eye of that, but I mean, it also doesn't seem like it would be that hard to run into them and just talk to them. They seem like fairly normal college age students that just are trying to like make a name for themselves.
Okay. I think I would point Tate in their direction. Because they'd have a better grasp of that while I'm digging around here.
Right.
Does anything else strike me as being particularly odd?
Yeah. There is a note that this particular Yuri was a member of the Orion Science Academy and is supposed to, because generally it seems like the crime syndicate thing isn't general knowledge, the vast public of the more respectable Orion.
That's like their front. Like, do they go by any other names? Like, that's obviously an alias, right? Like, is that the vibe I'm getting?
No, it seems like it's the actual name.
Okay, so then that would mean that they're of a more high standing to be able to get away with that.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Gotcha.
And it looks like being part of at one point, was a Science Academy alumni, is to, give a lecture at the great, like, commons of this Science Academy. You've never been inside the Science Academy, but you know its layout to some degree because science is something that interests you, so you know a little bit about it. The commons, like, auditorium area, very open. And you're supposed to give some sort of like lecture in 64 days.
What's the topic of the lecture?
Good one.
The topic of the lecture is actually a form of warp field dynamics.
Boring. To goodbye anyway. Okay, so very much a different flavor of nerd. Okay. How badly do people want this person dead, generally speaking?
Well, his syndicate stuff would make him a prime target. Given he has an interesting scientific background that you can't identify, that could also be part of it.
Yeah, that's above Kavai's little noggin. Okay. I'll definitely pass all of that information forward to Jaloryn.
First thing Jaloryn's going to do is going to want to map out his network, both syndicate and scientific.
Which, unfortunately, Kavai, you can't do unless you interact with people that know him.
Absolutely. Given his field, would he have ever crossed paths with my professor before?
Potentially, but it would be that would be a stretch only because of like the type of crowds that the circle
It
they
being a
surround themselves.
stretch is good enough to keep avoiding. Okay. All right. I think I will definitely, just to be petty, on my way out, steal all of the remotes or anything for like any devices so that it's just really annoying. Like the equivalent of stealing the TV remote.
All the little things you don't think about needing, and
Yes.
then you're starting to look around for it, and it's like,
Yes.
where did that go?
Yep. Anything like that, and all of the good snacks because I know where they are.
Interestingly enough, and unsurprisingly to you, all the good snacks generally aren't touched very often.
They kept their buying habits as if I would always come home. That's really annoying. Okay. Yeah, that's really annoying. I think that just ticks her off even more. She's still gonna eat them. But yeah.
Okay. Going off of like reports and stuff, actually you message that actually comes directly all the way from Earth is because you have your own like off-site, like it's a data pad for all intents and purposes, but it's more like a wristwatch because it needs to be more discreet. But you have a transfer of funds of about 200,000 credits to use. And that's to help you get room and board, or any equipment you think you might need, or to enroll in things that help you get you closer to your target. Just all of these things.
I think Kavai has their personal bank account still active. Is that a bit of a fair to say?
Yeah, for sure.
She would use that for that, and use this excess of funds to essentially buy people's contracts out. Like any of her cousins that she would know that want out, she would put it towards that.
Okay.
Instead.
You and Jaloryn are just really trying to make Admiral Mahil really fucking hate the two of you.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she knew that Kavai's bank account was still active. That accrues interest.
That also, she probably didn't account that Kavai, one, has that, and two, is like, it's a bank account that does not have a small sum of money in it.
No.
It has a fair amount
And
in
it is probably one of those things that Jaloryn would have helped kept hush hush.
Yeah. And I think I rolled real bad. while I'm here, I'm also gonna get some of the good stuff.
Okay.
It's old habits die hard, and this is stressful, and she needs advice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Impulse buying.
yeah. I think for that matter, she'd also probably buy out her dealer's contract.
Okay.
Because they'd been talking about wanting to get out for a while.
All right. As you kind of do that and go acquire your vice of choice, kind of just
Consider it a last sale for me.
I think the best thing to do is for me to just say thank you and to go the separate ways and pretend that I never saw you aside from this.
I'll reach out and take him by the hand
Mm-hmm.
and just with all the sincerity that she could put into it, because I think this is someone that he was probably smitten first.
Mm-hmm.
She would say with sincerity, like, "No, I mean it. You deserve this. Thank you."
It's not like a lengthy, like, parting of ways or anything like that.
Nah, it's real easy. It's transactional,
Mm-hmm.
but she does mean for them to
Yeah.
do better.
Going through and after acquiring, like, vice of choice again and just uh, going through like the wider like Lion City market space, you do essentially someone does like kind of very New Yorker style of like kind of just pushing you out of the way because like you're in the way.
I don't regard it, but I check my pockets and everything
Yeah,
first.
that doesn't really happen. You do get knocked off balance by a second person kind of doing the exact same thing, and you are actually caught.
Yeah, that tracks.
As a fairly slender woman of about your height as well. Definitely much more regal attire that is more befitting a diplomat and politician than someone who's just an average civilian of the Orion populace. Kind of catches you. She's like, "I'm sorry, I just didn't want you to fall."
I lean into her, um, head immediately on her shoulder. No, you didn't.
Fair, fair enough. Right. I haven't seen you before. I only know you're somewhat new here. Just posture tells me a lot. Are you from uh the southern continent?
Maybe. Who's asking?
We could save introductions for later, but if you're lost at all, and like looking up, you can like recognize profile and stuff like this. This is one of the individuals you should probably ingratiate yourself to.
Fantastic.
I,
Well,
I
I
mean,
have
there's a
something very nice if you would like to share.
sure, lead the way.
All right. I let her sort of half carry me
Mm-hmm.
to wherever. Probably an old apartment.
As you kind of head off that direction, we were going to fast forward in time, as this is deep cover operation, to the 64th day. there is a open and crowd of potential students and academy alumni as this conversation is about to begin. And there is an air amongst those present, especially you, Kavai, that whatever happens next, you had a direct hand in. But we will end our session there. So thank you everyone who joined, as we will begin next week with our final arc of the season, which is going to be titled The Trouble of Morality. But as always, if we've been even for a little bit, I truly do hope we have been for a short period and a while some of your daily dose of R&R. So we will see you next time.